Me, I just want to shamelessly say that I need to see you before you go. So please don't run away.
Plug your market.
Yes. Next up, we have someone who is in a very strategic position for the future of storytelling in Africa. He is the CEO and founder of 32AD Animation. It's a VFX company that operates in Nigeria. His name is Adebisi Adeyato. Please put your hands together for him. He's going to be speaking about the principle of about telling the African story and how animation and voiceover can change our narrative. Please put your hands together for him.
Wow, it's really great to be here. Voice is actually 60% of everything we do as animators. Yes. Without your voice, there's nothing for us to animate, except we're doing a dead movie where it's just characters just jumping from place to place. It's really beautiful being among people who actually orchestrate the voice. It's really good that I'm here today. So, driving African content. I'm actually the director of Lady Burkett and the Monthly Mobsters, which is presently on Netflix, likewise. And as at this morning, it's actually rated at 90%. As at this morning, on Google, if you check it up, it's 90% likes. And it was produced in 2000, and 2000, December, practically. It went to cinemas in December. That was actually the very first time. Yes. Oh, sorry. 2020, yes, 2020. All those dates tend to look alike, all two here and there. So we had about 18 different voices from people from Nollywood, and some other voices were actually untrained. And in the course of the production, we had to train some people to be able to deliver on the voices. I never knew that something like this existed back then, even though we would have looked into this pot of soup. We would have gotten something excellent for ourselves there. And we directed 18 voices and to produce an animation of 1 hour, 20 minutes. It was all done in Koga Studio there. And in that particular space, I understood something. Beyond the talent comes the story. And beyond the story comes the people who are actually managing the talent. And what I mean by that is, unlike every other recording that has been done in every studio for voiceover, in the case of we doing the voiceover for Lady Burkett, we had to come up with a 3-point camera recording, a voice recording. That's each cast, we're running about, it was a very big studio, so we had 4 people who could run voices at the same time. And each of the stands had to have about 3 different mics to capture different depths of sound. So it was very, very, very headaching, but we actually did very well with it. And very soon, I think we're having more of that. It's beginning to come up now. Presently, as at yesterday, we got a link from Kenya that a particular toy company also wants to produce a series of animation. So it's actually good that we're going to be having more and more and more of that. We have kids, practically all our children tend to consume foreign contents. So, and we have very rich voices that can actually master dynamic voices that can play different roles. In animation, we actually do more with voice performance or voice acting. That's you as a full grown-up adult speaking for a child, and you have to completely fit into that child's space. So it's a lot, but it's that's where the story is. That's where the beauty is. You can tell, like he mentioned, that they actually switched to Baby Shark, and the child stopped and tried to find where the sound was actually coming from. There seemed to be a frequency that kids tend to respond to. They can tell when you're watching an adult content. They can tell when you're actually in their channel. So I think that's where we need to actually perfect. That's where we need to focus. Pay more attention to these kids. Know their frequency. Know the sound they're listening to. So when you turn to the channel, automatically they respond. automatically respond. And one beautiful thing that also would also like us to quickly look out at is animation is big. Animation is big. Without animation, I don't think Nollywood can still survive because we do more of live content. But every other thing out there, animation has a massive GDP of every country. Educational animation is there. Medical animation is there. It's broad. It cuts across every single industry. So, and more of it is being imbibed in the culture where we are presently. So, apart from the acceptance of animation, which is growing every single day, I don't think there's a commercial you do that there's not going to be animation in it. Is that it's motion graphics? Is that it's 3D animation? There's going to be a form of animation in it. So now let's go more into character animation because that's where we actually focus on. We did the animation for the conference. And the reason why we did that was we felt this is the pot of soup that we've been looking for, sincerely. The voice guys, the people who actually can twist the voice this way and actually make the animator happy actually animating. Because if the voice is good, the animator does magic. In fact, he does magic. He's enjoying the voice of the character and so wow. He's able to express himself through the motions of the character. But if the voice is not as appealing enough, the guy is confused. He doesn't know how to even express it. But for the voices we had on Lady Burkett, they tried. They did a very good work. And the part that actually was missing, which we believe we could have done a lot more with, is the Africanism in the voice. That was totally lost. I think practically because the producers of it wanted it to sound very British English. So we didn't have much of the accent. So you could not actually tell where the story was coming from the voice. The Africanism was practically zero, was completely toned down. And if you're doing an animation for an African audience, no matter how toned it, you tone it to look very foreign-y, let's still know that it's a black man that's actually behind the voice. Don't throw everything into the basket. Let's still know the origin. Yeah, sound foreign, but listen, that is a black guy that's trying to sound foreign. That area is very, very particular. We have an animation now that has been done. We are in episode 2 now. And it's about a lady who actually owns a restaurant. A Yoruba lady. You know how Yoruba like to put a lot of pepper in everything they do. So she actually has a restaurant, and the restaurant wasn't moving forward. So she went to an herbalist. And in all the stories, you wouldn't believe it, it's very completely African, and it's all fully animation. When we produced the very first episode, a US-based company reached out to us and said, the beauty about this animation was that I can feel home again. The guy's name is Voltac. It's a very massive company in the US, and they have 5 channels in the US. And they reached out to us that, look guys, you need to produce Africa for us. Because they have so much Africans in the diaspora, and everybody's losing touch of home. So when they see an African audience, see an African environment, all CG design, because there's no more possibility in CG, you can bring anything back to life. So they reached out to that, look, we're going to be producing a series of this. And the process is almost done for us to actually, so we're going to be looking deep more into this pot of soup to actually engage people. Because they've actually asked us that who are the people who can actually speak local. We don't want a Nigerian speaking like a French guy. We don't want, because we can actually tell. They can tell about it that this is not the way we speak it over here. We want Nigerian to sound Nigerian. We don't want the Igbo guy to sound Igbo. Let us feel what we've been missing over there. So that's the originality they actually want from this content. So very soon, you would actually, in July, we should be starting production, and we'll look into this very big pot of soup. So it's actually big. Animation is big. The funding in animation, Lady Bucket was $1 million in production. And that means it's actually, if you're going to do that with Nigerian movie, you produce like maybe 40 Nigerian movies with that, if not even more than that. But animation itself, just 1 hour, 20 minutes was about, when we produced it, dollars was at 420. Around 420 million in a single 1 hour, 20 minutes of animation. Though we have cost for licensing of softwares, all that and all that. But it's actually a very good thing that please start preparing yourself for the possibilities. It's going to come, and it's already here. Many people are actually looking more into it, because the first time people never believed that it was actually possible to sustain an animation for 1 hour, 20 minutes. It's madness. It's practical madness. To the point that when one of the software producers reached out to us, the guy said, do you guys have anybody who would handle the technical side? We said everything was handled in-house. He said, you didn't get it. Let me repeat it again. You guys didn't consult with anybody from the US? I said, no, everything was done in-house. The guy said, how long have you guys been? They said 22 years. I said, wow, I get it. Yeah, it's sorted out. So possibilities is actually a big possibility for us. The more we open up the space for the future, the more we actually create more possibilities for every other people that are coming even after us. And our voice, like the other speaker said, your voice lives beyond you.